Coming up on episode 17 of the Countdown to You podcast, we are back with a bang as I'm joined by George and Jamal to preview the upcoming Premier League season and discuss the biggest transfers of the window so far. So, we're back, the first episode in a while, but I'm back here again with George and Jamal to discuss all things sport, really. But first of all, how you guys doing, man? It's been a minute.
All good, bro.
Yeah? What are you saying, George?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad either. Excited for the start of the new season, to be honest.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I've got the Spurs on. George is about to be a PSG fan.
George has changed allegiance.
But yeah, so before we kick things off, this is going to be a Premier League preview podcast. But first of all, before we get to that, I want to get to the biggest transfer window story so far. And the biggest one, obviously, it's just happened today, August the 10th. Messi's just gone to PSG. George, what are your thoughts? I mean, well, I know what your thoughts are. You've already fucking changed allegiances, bro. What the heck?
I was just put the top on just for the video, innit? But I don't know, man. I don't know if I like it or not. Like, that league's just so, like, it's just such a dead rubber league. Like, no one really cares about the French league at the minute. Even with Messi there, like, the only time people are probably going to watch PSG is when they're playing in the Champions League, whereas when Messi was at Barca, people actually watch La Liga as well. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. There's a lot of star power on the PSG team now, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. They got no excuses for me in terms of trophies or anything this year.
Oh yeah, me personally, before I hand it over to you, Jamal, the whole Messi thing, it felt like it was going to happen, but it's still surreal. I understand what George is saying. Like, seeing Messi in a different colour kit, I know it's still going to be red and blue, but it's just not the same. Like, I grew up on this guy, man. It was always Messi, Barca against whoever. You know what I mean? Like, they're always the constant, like, throughout life, but it just shows evolution. And Barca are in a mess, like, they're a massive mess of a situation. It just goes back to what we were talking about a few months ago now, about clubs being run badly. Yes, we've all got issues here or there with our owners, but how did Barcelona, the biggest club in the world, not have the capacity, not have the money, to pay the greatest player of all time? How did we get here, bro? Like, what the fuck?
Even if he played for free, he won't be able to play. Like, it's just an absolute shambles, and it's just going to go down from here now as well, because it's the amount. You can imagine the amount of money that he generates for them through sales and tickets, people coming to watch him. It's hundreds of millions. So that's going to be missing. Like, the stadium's going to be half empty. No one's going to want to tour Barcelona now. So,
Jamal, some lean years for Barca coming up. Are we going to see post-Fergie United or even worse?
Even worse, mate. They're finished, beyond finished. You don't let the best player to ever play the game walk out for free. I don't care what the situation is. Sell the farm if you have to. You just make sure that he stays there, bro. To let him go, not only to leave, but to leave to a club that's paying them over the last few years as well. Kind of like salt in the wounds. And it's gonna be weird, as I'm sure everyone will agree. It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be interesting as well, because like George said, no one really cares about the league. With or without Messi, they should be wrapping the league up. I know they lost it last year, but if the signings they've made already, they should be wrapping the league up. It's going to be interesting to see the Champions League, because I don't know what it is about them. I'm not sold on them winning the Champions League. They've got a sick team and whatever. There's just something about them. George mentioned like the star power and all the big names and stuff. Is it all going to work in the same dressing room? Is Potts the man to harness it? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I don't think it's as in Europe. I don't think it's as smooth as they've got Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. They're gonna just run through Europe. I don't think it's gonna work like that.
I agree with that. I agree with that, bro. Because in Europe, like you say, it's it's more of a collective thing. Yes, individual talent will win you a one-off game, but most of the time, unless you get to the final, it's never a one-off game. You've got two legs, and we saw it in the. They got knocked out by City in the semis, didn't they? Was it City? Yeah, City. They played both legs. They played brilliant 45 minutes, but they couldn't make it last for the whole game. And at the first sign of adversity, especially the front players, so Neymar and Mbappe, they don't play both sides of the game. They just play, and if they ain't got the ball, they're not interested. And you know how Messi's like. For the last 5 years, he doesn't move. He actually walks. So how are they going to manage to carry 3 passengers defensively unless they just have the ball all the time? I'm not sure.
I think it is a bit different. This not loads different, but the addition of Ramos is genuinely massive, both in the dressing room and on the pitch. Like, he is a serial winner. Like, if he can't inspire the team to win, to at least get to the final of the Champions League, even win it, then there's something seriously wrong with Mbappe and Neymar in the same team, because they've got all the talent in the world to win it. Like, you go through their team now, there's not one weak link, maybe the left back, but that's about it. Like, from the keeper to the attackers, it's a very, very dangerous team. So, like I said before, there's no reason for me why they shouldn't win the Champions League.
Is the star power going to be too much, Jamal? Are these different? Like, there was a good image actually on Twitter I saw today of all 3 superstars. They're all number 10 for their country, and they're the main man for their country. And throughout their careers, they've been the main man for their team. Are they going to be able to coexist?
I don't think it's going to be a Messi and Neymar problem, because we've seen them coexist. I think Neymar is happy enough now. Maybe he's kind of realised, a bit like Kyrie in the NBA, maybe he's always going to be a second star rather than the star. He's had his time to lead his team. He ain't been able to do it. Messi's going to come in and be the star man of this team, there's no doubt. Neymar will accept that. I don't think Mbappe will accept that. And if I'm being funny, if I was Mbappe, I wouldn't either. He's the most marketable player probably in the world at the minute. He's only ever going to go up. The rest are only ever going to go down. They're at the peak of the powers now. I wouldn't accept being the third man on that team. It's got a year left. So maybe it's just a year of, all right, if I don't win the Champions League here, I'll go to Madrid and start my own super team. I don't think it's a thing of it necessarily needing to coexist fully. Like you said, there's enough glue around. George mentioned Ramos. If people like that can't bring the team together, there's Marquinhos is a leader as well. There's leaders around the team. So there's enough there to pull it apart for a year. But anything longer than a year, I can't imagine it ending well.
Oh, man, I couldn't agree more with what you've just said. The only problem is going to be Mbappe and his ambition. You know what I mean? His ambition. What's his ambition? Does he want to be Messi? Does he want to be the greatest player of all time? Because he can just say, yo, I've won a World Cup. Like, Messi, you ain't done that. And then we beat you on the way to the World Cup. So what? We're on the equal footing. And this is like, it's 2022. It's a new age. Like, you need to, like, obviously it depends what he sees himself as, what he projects himself to be. He can be the sticking point. And when you mentioned about his future with Madrid, to me, either way, he's gone. So if they win it all, great, I'll walk out on a high. If they don't win it all, okay, cool, I just got to start my own thing kind of thing. This hasn't worked. So it's one of them things, George, where the ball is firmly in Mbappe's core, and whether he wants to play ball and bow down to Messi, or he wants to fight back, really, yeah.
But for the sake of the team, if you were Mbappe, like, as Jamal said, he's got 1 year left on his contract. He should acknowledge he's playing with the greatest player of all time, even though he loved Ronaldo, didn't he? He might think Ronaldo's the greatest player of all time. Yeah. So if I was him, you got to think, like, for a year, I'll sacrifice and to win the Champions League, then we'll play as a team, I'll work defensively, but I can't see him doing it. I really can't see him doing it. he scored a hat trick away at Barca in the Champions League, and then the next didn't score in the next game. Didn't score against City. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with him.
Well, like with Mbappe, to his point, before we move on, if he sacrifices that used to says, and he just almost plays within himself, but better for the team. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Champions League. He's won multiple trophies. How much, when he does go to Real, I mean, going to Real is going to bring its own pressures, but just in general, how much pressure is going to be off his shoulders? It's going to be like great, and he could just play freedom for the rest of his career, pretty much. But yeah,
I still don't think he can play freely. I feel like we're in the age now where no matter what a player does, it's still deemed not enough.
Yeah.
Because of social media and everything. Like a player can drop a 10 out of 10 and you still won't get enough credit. It's like an example's like Bruno. He'll drop a 10 out of 10 and Jamal will say, oh yeah, but he didn't do this, didn't do
that. I've been nice this off season because I ain't heard that geezer's name for a while.
Anyway, talking of Bruno, George, United for you, how do you rate your transfer window so far? Do you expect anybody else to be coming in?
It's a solid 9 for me. The only thing that would make it a 10 is if we got a CDM, because Fred and McTominay don't cut it really. Like, you want to get to the elite level, you can't have two passengers in the side, because let's be real, they might drop an 8 or 9 out of 10 one game, but then they'll drop 5 or 6s for the next 3 games. So it's a difficult one. I think the addition of Sancho is massive. He adds a lot more to the attack, and Varane as well, like proven winner. He's won it all. Does he still have the same motivation to win stuff at United? Time will tell. But in terms of a successful transfer window, yes, it has been, but there still is room for improvement in terms of buying a CDM as well.
You guys look good, man. I can't even front. But also the main concern for me, outside of the obvious CDM one, but I don't mind McTominay that much. I think sometimes you need a glue guy who won't do too much, But anyway, that's besides the point. My main point is I don't think you've got a striker. Who's your number 9 going? If you was to start tomorrow, if you was to play City tomorrow, who starts up front?
At the minute, it'd probably be Greenwood, because Cavani's not returned back from Copa America yet.
Is Greenwood going to get 20 to 30 goals that you will need to be firing?
If he started every game, I think he'd get at least 15 if he started every game. He's still young. He's still 19. So, well, that's the thing, is that we've got such a young attack that only time will tell if they can carry the weight on their shoulders. Because when Rashford's back, he's just had the shoulder surgery. The ideal attack for me is Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho, or Rashford, Cavani, Sancho. So but if you can get 15 goals from Cavani, 15 from Greenwood, 15 from Rashford, 15 from Sancho, I mean, it's you can't really complain, really. Like, it's one of them. It's like the Liverpool front three of a few years ago. They all chipped in with 15, 20 goals in a season, and it won them the league. So, and Firmino's not a true out-and-out number 9. So it's just one of them things. Like, can they all chip in? Because they're definitely all capable.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Whether you guys or Ile's got the tactical nous and the intelligence to set you guys up how Liverpool played. Liverpool, I don't know, that Liverpool time was a bit of I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore, really. But I'm definitely
just not as good. That's what he's trying to say.
I'm the what? Sorry.
It's just not as good. That's what he was trying to say. He didn't want to say it though.
That front three, the way.
No, I do agree. They're they're obviously not as good as that Liverpool front three, but there's definitely the potential there for them to be as good. Because you look at the front, you look at Rashford, Greenwood, Sancho, and you say, what's stopping them from scoring 15, 20 goals a season each? Sancho's done it in the Bundesliga. Rashford scored 16 last year. Greenwood's one of the best young attackers in the world. So
no, bro, definitely, man. I mean, we'll get to it later with the Premier League predictions. You'll see how much respect I've put on United's transfer window. So, but yeah, talking of Liverpool, Jamal, what you signed that centre back, but what else have you guys done in the window? You can't be happy, surely.
I'm not overly happy, but I'm not as disappointed as like maybe some fans are. We needed this. When you look at it without context, you can just see one signing, and it doesn't look that great on paper. But we've had 2 centre backs coming off serious injuries. The third centre back that missed the season has just turned 30 a couple of days ago. We've just signed one of the best young centre backs. When you consider Ben White, who's a decent centre back, has just gone for 50 mil. It's not a bad summer. It's a start. There's still a couple of weeks after the window. I always kind of thought we'd get stuff done later in the window, like we did last year with Jota and Thiago. They both signed after the season had started. So right now, I don't think it's a bad window. I'd probably say it's like a 6. Okay. If it's like this at the end of the window, it's not been great. I still think there's enough in the squad to compete for the big 2, but we're like 2 away from it being a great window again.
Before we move on, are you under Wi-Fi? Because you're breaking up.
Yeah, why is it breaking up? Wait, let me change it.
Was it breaking up for you too, George, or not?
Yeah, it was. Another thing about Messi, he's going to be number 30. That's just so weird.
What?
He's number 30.
Oh, has it been revealed? Yeah.
Yeah, number 30. Like, that's just so shit.
It looks weird as fucking the kit as well, man.
Don't like it, man. Look.
Oh, I swear. Strange. We should have just took that number 10 from Neymar, man. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm back. On Liverpool, Jamal. Again, for you guys, is it for me? Is it a problem for you actually? Just ask you the question that everybody else around you, that you guys had a fight last season to make top 4. I know you had a lot of injuries, but everybody else has actually improved and made big signings while you guys have kind of quote unquote stagnated. Are you going to get left behind? Is that not a worry?
No, not in my. I'm not. We'll get to the prediction and stuff at the end, but you'll see how I'm feeling about our situation. I think United on paper, Man United on paper have improved on their right wing in Sancho. It's still yet to, I'm a fan of Sancho. I'll get to it. They're not hate on him because he's signed for United. It's still yet to be proven. This isn't the Bundesliga. Teams in the Bundesliga are playing defenses around the halfway line every week. It's a very different scenario playing here. Varane is not this miracle centre back that I think a lot of people believe he is.
He's better than Lindelof.
He's better. Yeah, he's improved on Lindelof, but is it a big enough jump to be starting to talk about? We'll talk about that later.
If you sign Varane, how would you feel? If it was Van Dijk and Varane at the back?
Potato between him and it don't matter who's next to Van Dijk. I'm not bothered as long as
you're a liar. You're a liar.
I don't care who's next to him. I don't care about Varane. I'm not bothered about Varane. If I'm like you said earlier, you're talking about Ramos at PSG and the things he's going to bring to that dressing room. Do you think Varane's going to bring the same? Do you see him as a leader?
It's not about I'm not talking about the dressing room of Varane. I'm talking about on the pitch.
I'm just saying, in general, do you see him as like being a leader, someone that's going to galvanise the dressing room?
I see him as someone who's going to bring a wealth of experience in big games that Lindelof didn't possess, where he could carry us with a big performance through a game, through a tough game.
Okay, I can understand that. But back to Liverpool, I don't think we've stagnated. I think, as you just said, we've got the best. We had injuries last season, sorted already at centre back. We're not going to be seeing. Well, I hope we're not going to be seeing academy graduates and midfielders at centre back again. That's automatically going to kick us on. I think it's maybe cliche, but the fans being back for us more than anyone is a lift. we don't lose 6 games on the spin at Anfield with fans there. I don't think we lose 1 personally. So that's a big lift, a huge lift. And I think there's a genuine fire in the squad at the minute. I think a lot of players have had a rest. Mane and Salah have had their first summers off since being here. Van Dijk has had a full pre-season. Gomez has had 1. Matip's had 1. Kate has had 1. Oxlade-Chamberlain's had 1. These are players that, whether they start or not, they weren't even available to us last year. They weren't even like your Oxys, your Caters. These players weren't even available to be on the bench. If you can get more out of them and have them and maybe do something towards the end of the window, I'm not panicking. I'm nowhere near panicking, not yet anyway. I don't think we're stagnated. I think, listen, last year was last year, and we had serious injuries, and United finished 5 points ahead of us at the end of the season. It was what it was. It's not gonna happen this year. It's not gonna be the same this year. Yeah, I'm quietly confident. That's what I'll say. I'm quietly confident.
Yeah, you've got every reason to be confident, especially with the guys coming back. Yeah, for me though, just to finish up with Spurs really in this section, I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. I don't know. Like I'm more optimistic than. No, I'm not more optimistic than last year. That'd be a lie. But I'm just not optimistic at all. There's no way in hell. I'm probably ruining the top 4 just now, but there's no way in hell I can see us challenging, even looking at the top 4, because at a minute, what the problems that we had were defense. And yes, we brought in this new is it Christian Romero, whatever his name is, the Argentine centre back. He looks pretty good, voted the best defender last year in Serie A. So he's got a bit of cachet about him. He's got a bit of reputation coming into the Premier League. But yes, that's 1 out of 3 other positions. You know what? Let me say 2 other positions. So we need another centre back and another right back. Otherwise, again, we're drawing dead because we don't score enough goals. And also, just to pile on, fucking Harry Kane wants to leave. He literally just went on strike and then come back and denied it. And honestly, that's your star man. How is that going to make the rest of the team feel, So yeah, in terms of signings, I'm happy with Romero. Brian Hill, I'm not expecting too much from him next season, and I don't think we need to expect that much from him next season. We've got good wide players where we shouldn't have to rely on a 20, whatever 19-year-old, however old he is, to make an instant impact. So
I think he's one of your best players this season, personally.
Who, Brian Hill?
Yeah, I think
about Brian Hill, George.
I don't even know that much about him, but I think like 5-6 games in, Nuno realizes how good he is and how much better he is than your other wide players. Because I look at your wide players, Son, obviously, yeah, class, but Lucas, bang average, Bergwijn, bang average. So I genuinely think he comes in and makes a statement.
I hope so, bro. I hope so. I beg he does, but depending on what system we go with and whether we sign a new, I can't even project actually because that's going to be what we got now. But Bergwijn, I don't feel like Bergwijn's had enough chances. Having to adjust from Dutch football and not having only half a season where he's played properly, I'll give him another run out. Lucas is a bit annoying because he'll have flashes in a game and then the manager will just get sold and they'll be like, I've got to start him. But I agree with that. He's bang average. He shouldn't be anything more than a squad player.
Yeah.
I trust Bergwijn and maybe and Hill, but I guess so. Yeah, we're not exactly blessed with options. We're not Man City, so if he does take over the reins and his class, I'll take it. But yeah, first and foremost, we need to keep Harry Kane. But anything to add on Spurs, Jamal, before we move on?
Do you think you will keep Kane?
Yeah.
Do you think you will? Yeah, do you think you will now?
Not 90% sure that we'll keep Kane. Daniel Levy,
would you want to keep him?
Yeah, because we're not better than Kane. Yeah, I know he doesn't want to be there, but Daniel Levy knows to pay for this stadium. First of all, fans hate him as it is, but if he sells Harry Kane to a Premier League rival, it's going to be even worse.
But at some point, he's gonna go to a Premier League rival. If it's not this summer, it's gonna be next.
No,
So
why? What? We're just seeing Messi.
so you're gonna keep a player that doesn't want to be there for 2 years?
Yes.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, bro. At some point, he's going to go in the next 2 years. Would you not rather do it now, get it out the way with? Because with or without Kane, you're not gonna get back in the Champions League this summer. With or without him, you don't want to be there. This is the summer you're gonna get the most for him. You may even get 100 mil plus a player from City. You may get I don't think you're going to get that next summer. So I don't
agree.
I don't get it.
If Daniel Levy, surely you take the money. You take the money and reinvest it. Surely,
100%,
bro.
Bro, there's bro. You just said you need a centre back and all.
You need a right back, a new striker, probably a centre mid as well, a CDM, because Højbjerg was good last year, but you can definitely improve on Højbjerg.
No, we can't. Højbjerg's a good player. I disagree there, but no, I see what you guys are saying, and that's the logical way of thinking it. But the way that coming from a Spurs fan, and especially Daniel Levy, the way that he'll see it is, he's got such like his relationship with the fans is so fucking toxic. Yeah, it can't get any worse. From the moment they set Pochettino, he's even said that he regrets it, but Pochettino's gone up, we've gone down. It's literally been completely crossed paths. And if he sells Harry Kane to a Premier League rival, I don't see how he comes back from that this season. Yes, he might go.
But that's happening anyway. He's not going abroad.
Kane wants to go, so he can't help that Kane wants to go.
Yes,
surely fans understand that Kane wants to leave.
He's there for 3 more years. There's no Kane doesn't.
He's not, man.
Kane is on a contract for 3 more years. Daniel Levy does not have to sell him. This is not a Jack Grealish situation where he's got a release clause. If he does,
we get that, but bro, from a Liverpool perspective, you as well, you've seen enough players leave Spurs. I'm thinking more of a Coutinho situation with us, where it gets toxic, bro. It's gonna maybe not as toxic as the Coutinho situation because Kane's got a bit more loyalty towards Spurs than Coutinho did us. But there's just gonna be times where he's just got at some point he's just gonna end up forcing the book to a point where his hands are tied. So why not get the maximum money you can get now? Why wait a year or even 2 years down the line? What's the point?
It's different. Listen, Jamal, if Barcelona, let's swap Coutinho on the thingy around that same situation. If it was Barcelona or Paris or Juve or whoever, it was a foreign team, Kane would be gone. Kane would not be here right now. I completely agree. It makes it worse. It's the fact that it's Man City. It's the fact that they're the best team in a country and you're strengthening them already. I know we're not competing with them, but that's besides the point. He wants to sell us, Daniel Levy with this new stadium. The dream that he sold every Spurs fan was that we will be competing with City. That's the ambitions of the team.
More for you, like, it's your own fault for believing it.
And that's why he's not going. But anyway, that's enough for Spurs and Kane.
I think, just to end that, I think regardless, whether it's this year, next year, he ends up at City. I don't think you're cutting your face off to spite your nose or whatever the saying is. Just costing yourself extra money for no reason.
Maybe so, but to get into the Champions League next season, I know it's a long shot, but we've got a better chance with Kane than without him. But anyway,
another thing as well, actually, about if Kane does go to City, Chelsea have got Lukaku now as well. There's a young striker in the Bundesliga that's going to need a club when his release clause comes up this summer.
Well, Bayern have just jumped on it.
Apparently. No, I was about to say it leaves Bayern,
United, really. That's about it, really.
They're the only 2 clubs really who can go for it. Maybe Madrid, but I can't see him going to Madrid personally. I don't know why.
I can. I definitely can. I 100% can. I can see.
I see him at Madrid more than United. I don't see him at United.
I do.
He loves Ole. He's good mates with Ole.
I don't see him at United. But how long's Ole going to be there? When he ends the season trophyless, then what? When Ole's not there, then what happens?
No, he sees Sancho and Rashford either side of him and thinks, "Oh yeah, quite like the look of it."
Sounds terrible.
Anyway, boys, we're going to take a little break here and we're going to come back and preview the 2021-2022 Premier League season. And we're back. So, yeah, in this section, we're going to preview the upcoming Premier League season. And, yeah, so we're going to start with the top four and then eventually we go to the champions and we give our reasons. So, yeah, we'll start with fourth place. So, yeah, I'll kick it off. My fourth place team is Liverpool. So, yeah, they're in fourth because, as I mentioned earlier, I think they've missed a trick here. Well, they haven't really missed a trick because they just haven't got the money. So it's unfair to say that. But the rest of the top four from last year, who I think will also be in the top four this year relatively comfortably, improved key areas. Apart from City, who really didn't require that much improvement. But yeah, so yeah, I just think they missed a trick by not signing a new players really in key positions. For me, they needed to get a number nine, a striker, and they need to get an alternative who can consistently be reliable and fill in for Salah and Mane. Yes, you could probably turn around and say Jota, but I need to see him fully fit for the whole season for me to say that. And also, is Van Dijk going to regress or is he going to come back to peak Van Dijk? I'm not sure, Jamal. That's why I've got Liverpool fourth and not really challenging for the title.
You want me next?
Yeah. Okay, you have fourth.
I got United fourth.
Why?
I think they've improved on their team from last year. I just think that the other teams around them are better. I still think the manager is a big issue. When I think of the three teams that I've got above them, the managers are so far clear of their manager. I think that's a problem. I think fourth is a respectable season. I think fourth is where they would have finished last year had we had a fit squad and Chelsea had a proper manager for half the season. So I think that's what they are. I think they're a fourth place team at the minute.
Go on, George. Have you got a rebuttal to that? Or who's your fourth place actually before we
I ain't gonna lie. I was thinking about this today, and I thought I think fourth split between either us or Liverpool. Due to the fact that towards the end of the season last year, Chelsea were unbelievable under Tuchel, and they're going to sign Lukaku. They've got a team that's just won the Champions League. They've got Jorginho, who's just won the Euros, and I look at Chelsea's the starting 11, and I don't really see a weakness, to be honest. So I feel like Chelsea are just a lot better than United and Liverpool at the minute. Like United still do have a weakness or two. Liverpool for me, their weakness is probably Firmino and their squad depth, because if an injury does happen, for example, like Robertson, like that has happened, their backup's going to be that Greek 19-year-old, 20-year-old, whoever he is. And then say Salah, Firmino or Mane get injured, then like it's another thing that it weakens them as well. So, and obviously the point about Van Dijk coming back, is he going to be exactly the same? So for me, fourth is split between United and Liverpool. I really can't decide. For me, it just genuinely depends on how we start the season, because as Jamal said before, Liverpool have had a good pre-season and a lot of their players have had a rest, whereas United's pre-season, although it's been good, a lot of the players who will feature the most haven't played a lot in pre-season. I think Bruno's played 2 games, Shaw's recently returned, Rashford's out with shoulder surgery, Sancho and Varane haven't played in pre-season yet, and trying to think, Maguire's come back recently. So, and Henderson and the Henderson De Gea thing's frustrating as well because Henderson is out with COVID. So does that mean De Gea is going to be number one again?
Who would your number one be if you was to pick the team?
Neither of them. I just think that De Gea's past it, and I do like Henderson. He's got his strengths are De Gea's weaknesses. So he's very commanding of his box, but he's not a great shot stopper. And we saw that, I think, against Liverpool towards the end of last season where Salah scored that goal in the last minute. He was basically just saying, put it in that corner. He was stood on one side of the net. So for me, it just depends on how well United start the season. If we start well, then I can be a bit more optimistic. But right now, with the pre-season we've had, although the signs have been good, I do see us finishing probably 4. But not like way off the pace. I do think that the top 4 this year is going to be very competitive, and it depends on what the results are when the big teams face each other.
Yeah, you make fair points, really. And again, my third and second, it's a lot closer than it must seem to a lot of people, because I was contemplating putting this team in second place instead of who I've got second. My third place team is actually United. The main issue, I like their starting 11, but their squad depth is a bit of a worry to last the whole Premier League season. And also, ideally for me, I want a striker. I want one player that I can pencil in 20 to 25 goals in a Premier League alone. I feel like City have just got so much squad depth. They're always an exception to an extent, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, Chelsea with Lukaku, they've got that. Liverpool with Salah, they've got that. But I don't feel like United have got that. Yes, you want to spread out the goals, but Rashford is going to miss the start of the season. Sancho needs to obviously get used to the Premier League, and I can't count Cavani to do bits for the whole season. I just can't. Martial looks
Bruno could get 20 goals. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but Bruno, he can't score and assist all the goals. I mean, he'll probably have a good season, but still. Anyway, that's why I've got you third. I've got you closer to second place, really. But yeah, I've got you third, and I feel good about that. It's not like I was struggling really, but yeah. So who you got third, Jamal?
I got City third.
Oh, really?
I got City third. Yeah. I think the point that George made about United's pre-season being a bit up and down, I don't think City have had the smoothest pre-season. De Bruyne and Foden still aren't back, or they're still injured. I look at them, and it's going to sound weird because obviously they went on that mad run last year and they breezed the league in the end. But watching their 2 previous title winners, the Centurions and then the 99-point team the season after, when I compare it to the team I watched last year, I wasn't that impressed. It wasn't that impressive to me. People can say they won it in a different way to the other teams, and that's impressive in itself. I wasn't that impressed. I look at them, and I think the point that you made about teams having guaranteed goal scorers, as amazing as I think Jack Grealish is, I think he's a great player. He'll improve them in a sense. I look through the team, and I think Sterling, he had a great Euros, but he didn't have the best of years last year with City. Jesus, maybe in all comps, will get you 20 goals, but that's not a striker that's going to win you the league. Mahrez isn't exactly a goal-scoring winger that's going to put 20 goals a season. Grealish isn't. De Bruyne isn't. Foden may do that in the future. I don't know if he's there yet. They may spread it out between them all. I just don't see it. I don't see them as maybe strong and effective as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
Still, I know they were solid last year. Defensively, still, I don't look at them as an amazing team. Defensively, I don't know, man. I've got I got a feeling. How many years can they continue to be? I know Pep's there, but
Bro,
it's just we had a down year. They had a down year 2 years ago. It's hard to keep this level that they go. It's hard, bro. Without having years off, it's difficult. I just don't see them doing what they did last year, doing it again this year without it. As it stands, if they can add Kane before the window, then it changes. But for now, I've got them third, man. I ain't really that worried about them, to be honest.
Have you got City third as well, George? Because Jamal makes good points, especially about the goal scoring. But yeah, just before I let you go, I just want to mention like they did literally just win the Premier League last year without a guaranteed goal scorer, and they still scored pretty close to 100 goals. And they didn't break that much sweat. They won quite comfortably in the end. But yeah,
to be fair, they only scored 10 more goals than us last season. But at the same time, that would be very hard for them to repeat. So I understand what Jamal's saying. It would be very hard for them to repeat scoring that many goals without a guaranteed 20 goals a season player. So I understand where he's coming from, but something about City, man. I can't write them off that easily. Like Pep as well. Like obviously he is probably the second best manager of all time. So
the first.
It's hard, man. It's hard to write him off. But I've probably got Liverpool third, just because of the fact that.
So you had United fourth. I thought you had Liverpool fourth.
I can't decide between United or Liverpool third and fourth.
Yeah.
Like
he's a man of sense, man. He knows United are fourth. Man. He knows.
I do think though, like the top four, there won't be like a 15-point gap between first and fourth. I do think that everyone's improved significantly enough to the point where it's going to be like maybe like the early 2000s, like late 2000s, where it was like a genuine top four all battling it out. And I don't think there'll be a runaway winner this year, barring Kane going to City or there being some injuries again.
All right, cool. So instead of just saying second and then obviously leaving one team for obvious first, I'm just going to name a top two. And I've actually got Chelsea winning the league and City coming second as it stands. I was so impressed with Chelsea in the second half of last season, with Tuchel not even having his own players, and they just went and won a Champions League. And in every major statistical category since Tuchel took over, apart from conversion rate, mainly down to Timo Werner, Chelsea were top. And they're going to be adding Lukaku. If they get that Jules Koundé as well, from all that I've heard, I've still got to see it. He's supposed to be a top centre-back. On top of what they've already got, these guys have got they've got good players, good young players as well, are only going to get better. I've got them winning the Premier League. They've just won the Champions League, so all of their eggs are going to be in the Premier League basket, unlike City. And that's what I think, that's what's going to let City down, and the fact that they've got guaranteed number 9. So in these games, these games around Christmas period where you have to win 1-0 and just scrape it kind of games, City are going to be drawing 0-0, whereas Chelsea are going to have Lukaku scoring the goals to get them these crucial wins. So I think that's going to be the difference, Lukaku, and the fact that City's priority is going to be again in the European Cup, whereas Chelsea want to cement that now. They want to be saying that we're back. The whole City Northwest monopoly between City and Liverpool over the last few years, that's gone. And Roman is showing intent this transfer window with the amount of money that he's spending. He's not messing about. He's here to dominate yet again. And I like Chelsea. I like Chelsea's team. They've got great balance throughout. Their goalkeeper can maybe be improved on, but he's been strong. I can't fault him. He's been good enough. And and that's why I think they're just going to pip City to the Premier League title, Jamal.
I'm kind of with you. I think it depends. As it stands, I've got Chelsea winning it. I think Lukaku tips it over the edge. Depending on what we do in the last 2 weeks, I'm still quite confident that we'll do it. But as it stands, I'll go with Chelsea. I just think like you said, defensively since Tuchel's come in, they've been sensational. Tactically, since he's come in, they've been brilliant. He's had a few months with them now. He's had a full pre-season with them all now. Generally, when they have a top striker, Drogba, Costa, they tend to win the league. They've got one of the best strikers in the world, regardless of what you think of his play or his general play, whether he looks like he plays in jeans, whatever you've got to say about him. Geezer scores goals wherever he goes. Like, it's non-negotiable. He's scoring goals. So I think add that to what they've got defensively, tactically, a manager that knows how to win. As it stands, I'll go them first and us second. But if we can add another forward of decent quality and a midfielder, I would tip it to us.
Just to add to that as well with Chelsea, like they're three behind Lukaku. They're creating chances, man. They create so much chances, and their midfield with Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho, he's got that balance that Lampard just couldn't strike. You know, like he's managed to find it relatively quickly. And you say now he's got a whole pre-season too. Well, maybe can fuck it up by trying too much, but like if they keep progressing the way they were. Because towards the end of the season, they just looked irresistible. And they didn't have Pulisic. They didn't have Ziyech in top four. Havertz was starting to come into his own. And they got Mason Mount as well. They look really good, man. George, do you think Chelsea are going to win it as well or not?
Yeah. My initial reaction to Lukaku signing was like obviously it's a good signing. He is a good striker, but I don't think that's what tipped them over the edge. I think it would have been between them and City anyway. I think I've seen Lukaku at United, so part of me, I don't know. I've not watched him the past 2 years. I can't lie. Whilst he's been at Inter or whatever, I've not watched him, but I've seen he's been scoring. But all I can think of is the player that he was at United, and that is what's putting doubt in my mind as to how good of a signing he is. Like, he does score goals, but the goals that I remember him scoring at United was when we were already winning a game. He was never the one to take the game by a scruff of the neck and take us to win the game. He could never demand the ball. It bounced off his foot. Like, I'm not joking when I say that as well. Like, I do want the guy to do well. Like, I wanted him to do well at United, but he was not that guy that, like I say, could take the game by the scruff of the neck and propel the team to win the game. So as much as it is a massive signing, it's 150 million for him. I do think that him settling into the team and the style that they play as well will take some time. It's not going to be an instant click unless Tuchel's a miracle worker. Like that, these things do take time.
I've just checked. Sorry to
interrupt,
but like I've just checked. Lukaku's 28 years old.
Yeah,
is he not banging his prime now? That's like
he is. Yeah. Whereas at United, he might have been a bit. I don't know what the word is. He seems to have that spell at Inter seems to have matured him and turned him into an all-round striker. And obviously, he scored goals at the Euros. But I remember the game they played against. Was it Portugal? Who did they play in the last 16?
Portugal.
Yeah, Portugal.
It was Portugal, yeah. And I remember them clipping balls into Lukaku and he was struggling to control it. And I was thinking, like, this is the same guy that I watched at United. So I don't know how it's going to work. But their squad is it is up there with City's for me because they've got a lot of depth in midfield and going forward that can scare teams. They've got Ziyech, Werner, Pulisic, Mount, Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante. And even though they've loaned him out, Gilmour when he comes back into the team next season, so they've got they've got an exciting few years ahead, Chelsea, and I do think they probably will win the league. And City, like you said, Nick, will want the Champions League this year.
I'm surprised that we've all gone for Chelsea. I was certain that somebody will go for Man City, but yeah, just touch upon City before we wrap up quickly. I don't think Jack Grealish is worth 100 million. That could be spent elsewhere. I'd rather have Lukaku for 100 million than Jack Grealish. I don't know. I just don't feel like he
Not
moves
at City.
like that.
Lukaku at City wouldn't work. No chance.
No. I'm just talking about in general.
Oh, right.
At City, Real, whoever. If I'm starting a team and I've got 100 million, I've got to buy one or the other. Lukaku every day of the week. I don't think I'll pay more than, even in today's market, than 70 million for Grealish. I just don't think it gives the output. Maybe he's still got potential. He's still like 25, 26, I guess. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see £100 million player. It's a bit like when Ousmane Dembele went to Barcelona. I just don't see £100 million player in him. Like, when you go triple figures, you got to be serious. But God knows.
Yeah, Barca signed Dembele for 100 million.
Yeah.
They signed Coutinho for 100 million. No wonder that club's in ruins, man. What's going on?
Big mess.
Can I just add something on the top four thing? I had a thought earlier when I was doing a bit of prep and whatnot. We've all got the same top four as last season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the same the season before. If it's the same again, is this the end of this whole top six, big six thing that keeps getting pushed? Because I did some research earlier. If it ends the way that we've all got it and they're all in the top four again, this will be the first time since 2005 to 2008, 2009 that it's happened 3 years in a row. Can we? And that was an old traditional top four: Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, United. Can we end this whole top six nonsense if it's the same top four again?
Well, yeah,
I think we can personally.
Definitely.
Some teams, Spurs and Arsenal ain't serious to me. Leicester aren't good enough to bridge that gap. Personally, if it ends the way it is again this year, the whole tops, I don't want to hear his top six nonsense anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm bored of it now.
It depends. It depends how competitive, in my opinion. It depends how competitive 5 and 6 are. And also, to be a top six, you actually need to be in the top six. You know what I mean? Like, last season, Spurs and Arsenal, we weren't in the top six. So how can we be a top six if you're not in the top six? And that's how it's come round. But it does make sense that you guys are the top four because you guys are the top four wealthiest clubs. And yeah, that's the way I see it. You're completely right, Jamal. I will 100% agree with you. I didn't even realise that start to you just said it, but it felt like that. It felt like you four teams are the best four teams, and there's a bit of a gap, you know. That's how I feel.
One thing actually about Chelsea winning the league, if they start this season well, I think they definitely have a massive chance of winning it because in their first 6 games they play Arsenal away, Liverpool away, Spurs away, and City at home in their first 6. So if they're near the top of the table after those first 6 games, they've got Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley in the next 5. So
I think they beat everyone but us in the first 4 or 5.
Where's the Liverpool game? Anfield.
Yeah.
So that would be tough. Yeah, honestly, it's good. Hopefully, boys, it's going to be a great season. It's not going to have one dominant team. And hopefully there's surprises, man, because yes, we've all got the same top four. Yes, we've all got the same winner. But in my opinion, obviously, as an outsider looking in, I want something. I just don't want to have that status quo. I don't have to have the same people all the time at the top. So I do hope Spurs, or even maybe Arsenal or Leicester, somehow do.
You know what, Arsenal anywhere near this top 4.
But maybe not Arsenal, but it still be good to just see a change, you know, because just see the top 4.
I'd like to see Villa do well. I know Jamal will disagree, but I'd like to see Villa do well.
To be fair, I think they will. Sorry, I'll let you finish, but I think they will do quite well this year.
I just like the signings they've made. So, and that leads me into the teams that I think will get relegated actually, based off their signings.
All right, cool. Just you kick off then, bro.
Yeah. Because obviously they've signed one of the top scorers in the Prem last year, Danny Ings, I don't see Southampton getting anywhere near as many goals as they did last year. Even though I do like the manager, I see Southampton going down personally, just because I look at their team on paper and I just don't see anything to be excited about. And then I think I have Watford and Norwich following them, because I think Brentford stay up mainly due to the fact they've got like a goal scorer and they've got some decent players. Whereas Norwich and Watford, I just go through the squad and I just think like Todd Cantwell's probably Norwich's best player. Like it's just not good enough really.
Yeah. Who's going down for you, Jamal? I've got a very similar list to that, George, to be honest.
I didn't think of Southampton, but without Ings, I do like that shout. They didn't cross my mind for whatever reason. But I went with Norwich shoe-ins for me. They'll probably beat us on Saturday now because I said that. But they're shoe-ins for me. They're going down.
They beat they got relegated though.
Yeah. They had a couple of dozen results like that. And I think they're gone. I see it as the same team, basically. The same team that went down has basically come up, but without Buendia. I think they're gone.
I'm without their player of the season, Oliver Skip.
Whatever.
He was good last season. He was quiet.
Whatever. Skip straight over that. I've got Burnley more out of hope than anything else. I don't understand how they survive every year without investing, without spending no money, paying 4-4. I don't understand how they're still here. I'm hopeful that this year finally they're gone because I've had enough of them. I hope they go. And I was stuck on the third team. It was a toss-up out of Newcastle and Brentford. I understand George's point with they've got a goal scorer. I think maybe more so because they've got a bit of an identity as well, the way they want to try and play football. I just think once it goes toxic at Newcastle after a bad few results, they're on a slope for months. And it hit a skid last year and they were lucky that, A, there were no fans there, because if the fans was there, it would have gone mental. And they got St. Maximin and Wilson back at the same time, and Joe Willock at form. I'm not so sold on. Just signing for 25 mil, Joe Willock. I think. Yeah. I'm not so sold that it goes as well this time. I'm not so sold on the fact that St. Maximin and Wilson do the same as they did last year either, and the fans are going to be back, and that's a toxic place to be, St. James's Park, when the fans are there and it ain't going well. So I think they're gone as well.
You think Watford stay up genuinely?
They're dodgy, man. The sad thing is you can only send 3 teams. There's genuinely like 5 or 6 teams that I would like to just get rid of. There's quite a few. I'd like to just get rid of them all, bro. There's a few that I wouldn't mind just dashing out the league. I think Watford have got enough.
So yeah, George has got Watford, Norwich
and Southampton.
Southampton. John's got Newcastle, Brentford. Did you say?
Newcastle, Burnley, and Norwich.
Burnley and Norwich. See, I can't bring myself to send Burnley down, because you just know they're gonna take a big scalp at Turf Moor around the winter months. But yeah, I've got Watford. I've got Watford, Norwich. I've got Norwich coming bottom, and then Watford above them, and then Newcastle going down. Newcastle, Jamal, you probably could have I could just copy and paste what you just said and just say that again. I feel the exact same way. I think they would have went down last season if the fans were in the stadium, because around March it was so toxic. Yeah, they were destined to go down, and then Willock just gets some mad purple patch, and it goes like Jesse Lingard type of form, and he actually just keeps them up by himself. In terms of Watford and Norwich, they're just not good enough. It's simple as that. I hate everything about Norwich. I just don't like Norwich. I don't like their kit. I don't like their stadium. I just don't like. Yeah, they're just like useless. Proper definition of a yo-yo club, like up and down, up and down. They're too good for the Championship, but they're not good enough for the Premier League. There's like an intermediate there. that they should be in. But in terms of the likes of Brentford and Southampton that you guys mentioned, I've got no worries about them. I don't worry about the teams if we can go back to Bournemouth anyhow. I don't worry about the teams with an identity. So these teams that come up and they want to attack, yes, they'll concede a shit ton of goals. They'll get a couple batterings by the big boys throughout the season, but they'll get points out of the likes of Burnley, for example, Newcastle, simply because they go for it. And most of the time, 3 points, they'll get 3 points where they should be drawing a game. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean. So the likes of Newcastle or Burnley will draw that game, whereas because they're forward thinking, they'll win a game like 4-2 or 5-1. So a couple game weeks, it'll just click and they'll just look irresistible. So yeah, I think they'll probably stay up. But
sorry, I was just looking at the Championship, like the clubs in the Championship at the minute, and I genuinely don't want any of them to come up. There's no one exciting in the Championship. Maybe Blackburn just because of the ground, like I like Ewood Park, like. But apart from that, man, it's teams that we've already seen, yo-yo teams, like. It needs refreshing somehow.
I wouldn't mind. I like seeing Brentford come up, and I wouldn't mind seeing Birmingham come up, but that's just because I'm biased, but that's it.
It's going to be Fulham and Bournemouth, or one of the two, and maybe like a Reading or someone that we've, or West Brom or someone that we've seen
Reading,
regularly.
No,
it's gonna be someone dead like that. One of West Brom, Bournemouth, or Fulham. At least one of them is coming up.
No. Anyway, season starts Friday. Let's hope we get another great season, boys. Thank you for coming through as always. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Spotify and also, of course, subscribe on YouTube. But yeah, thank you boys for coming through and peace.